Well, nobody's paying us for our professional opinions, but on this episode of Around the Paul, we're going to have our 2024 NFL Draft reaction, the Clemson Tigers version. We're going to talk about all of Clemson's NFL draft selections, the teams that took them, where they fell in the draft, and whether or not they landed where we thought they would, or were there some surprises. I'm sure everybody knows there were a few surprises in this draft. We're going to give you our opinions on that. Oh, and we might even drop in a little rant or two about baseball at the very end. So you're going to want to stick around because we're coming at you with another episode of Around the Paul, and this one's going to be fun. I'm Garrett Mitchell along with Clifton Kennedy, and we're coming right through your speakers on this one. Cliff, pretty solid 2024 NFL draft. There were 10 Clemson Tigers whose names were in the pot. 6 of them were drafted. And just before we break this down player by player, your initial thoughts on this draft, and was it anything like you expected, or were you more or less surprised with where everybody fell?
No, I thought it went as expected. I thought Nate Wiggins would go a little higher, just because I think he's probably the best DB in the draft. Best cornerback in the draft or whatever. And but I thought he might go a little higher. I thought Trot went to the exact place where he should have gone. He playing with it where his dad used to play. I thought that was awesome. And I just thought it was an all-around good draft. I thought Will Shipley got a good draw, I think, with the Eagles as well. So, and all the Davis went to a great team. I mean, they all went to great teams. I think it was an overall pretty good draft. How about you?
Yeah, I thought so as well. I was following along, and I'll be perfectly honest, and I'll give my opinions on this as we go throughout the show, but I was very surprised at a few of the selections, not the selections themselves, but where they fell in the draft. And to me, and yes, I'm biased. I wear orange and purple on my sleeve, and everybody knows that. But even objectively, I was really surprised at how low some of Clemson's players fell. And we're going to break this down player by player, and we're just going to start at the top. We're of the 6 draft selections, we're going to go start at the highest, and we're going to work our way down. And the first, of course, was Nate Wiggins. And he gets taken 30th overall in the first round. So we're talking very end of the first round. But a bit of a cool story there because he gets taken by the Baltimore Ravens, and he is going to reunite with his former Clemson teammate, Trenton Simpson. And Simpson was waiting on him when he got to Baltimore, stepped out of the car, was waiting there to greet him. So I'm surprised that Wiggins fell all the way to 30. I mean, it's a first-round selection. Everybody projected him as a first-round pick. That in itself turned out to be true. I thought he would be a little bit higher. I thought he would be somewhere in the 12 to 20 range, so that would fall somewhere in that area. But at the same time, happy for Nate. Look, he's going to a contender. He's not going to a rebuilding team. He's going to a team that is winning and winning right now, and he's getting to do it with another Clemson Tiger. So you know what? Good on Baltimore. Good for the Ravens and good for Nate Wiggins. Happy for that kid. Clifton, look at the evolution of his career. It wasn't all that long ago that I think he was being panned by a lot of Clemson fans and given up on. And then that kid just worked his ass off and got better and better and better. He's earned the spot that he's in right now. Could not be happier for me.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I can remember that Wake Forest game and how he just got toasted. And that whole game, and he just got better.
I still have nightmares of Sam Hartman.
And I mean, he just got better after that, like every game. And then last year, he came into last year, he was, the start. He was just doing awesome and had that interception. Was it an interception? It was that year. It was the 2022 year where he intercepted Drake May and ran it back for a touchdown. He did that, and then last year he just played so well. And he had a couple of interceptions, I think, and he just got better as the year went on, and he deserves every bit of where he went and getting picked in the first round. I thought he should have gone earlier, but I think that the Ravens are the perfect team for him because he gets to reunite with his old teammate and everything. I just think it's perfect, and he's going to contend, like you said.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think it was the best case situation for Wiggins, aside from the fact that maybe we thought he was going to go earlier. Look, he's a first-round pick. He's going to make first-round money, and he's going to a contender with a former Clemson teammate. I don't know that you could ask too much more if you're Nate Wiggins. Now, the next Tiger off the board didn't go too far behind Wiggins. Wiggins went number 30 overall, and at number 35 overall, so what was that, the third or fourth pick of the second round? It was very early in the second round. It was defensive tackle Ruke Orhorhoro, drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. So he's not going very far from Clemson. Now, again, I was a bit surprised. Orhorhoro, I thought, I kind of had him projected as a middle rounds guy, maybe third round at the earliest, maybe even as low as the fifth round, just depending on teams' needs and where he was going to fall into the order of things. I certainly did not expect him to be taken within the first 5 picks of the second round. And I don't know that anybody had his draft projection that high, but you know what? Good for him.
Yeah. He definitely is all he's cracked up to be and all he's talked up to be. He's an excellent player. He played well at Clemson, did exactly what Clemson needed him to do. He deserves every bit of that. I mean, and he's getting reunited with old Clemson teammates. Well, not old Clemson teammates, but old Clemson players. And he's going to learn from some of the best. I mean, and he's just right down the road. Like, if Clemson fans want to go see him play, they just got to go 2 hours, and especially the Clemson fans from Greenville and in South Carolina. So perfect spot. I think he's going to do well. But yeah, it was a little surprising where he went, but I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And look, again, that young man, he's earned everything he's gotten. And he was a player that came into Clemson very raw. He had to earn his spot. This wasn't a guy that was a plug and play day one. He had to work at it. He had to get better and better with each passing year. And he played for Clemson for how many? At least 5 years. I think it was 5 years for Ruke. Look, in a day and age of the transfer portal and NIL and players going to the highest bidder, you don't see that type of loyalty to a program. It's the exception now and not the rule. Ruke Orhorhoro is what Dabo Swinney likes to call a true Clemson man. Mm-hmm. He put just as much focus on his work off the field as he did on it. And on top of that was loyal to the Tigers. And I think the fans in Atlanta, once they get to know Ruke, are really going to love this young man.
Yeah, I totally agree. Just a great guy and a great player, and he's in a great spot. I think they got a good quarterback now, or they drafted a good quarterback, and they got a good experienced quarterback that they paid a lot of money.
Well, we could do a whole nother episode if we wanted to on the Michael Penix Jr. pick by the Atlanta Falcons that has been about universally decried across the NFL-loving world after you spend almost $200 million on a veteran quarterback. But, that's a story for a different day. But needless to say, I don't think Atlanta has to worry about their quarterback situation for a while.
Nope.
So all right. We got Wiggins goes first round, 30 overall. You've got Ruke going 35th overall early in the second round to the Atlanta Falcons. The next Clemson player to be drafted was Will Shipley, running back, all-purpose back. Everybody knows he's a great runner. Everybody knows he's a great pass catcher out of the backfield. He's a Swiss Army knife, a jack of all trades. And Shipley went 4th round to the Philadelphia Eagles, and the first of 2 players drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles out of Clemson. This was the pick for me that fell almost exactly where I thought that it would. Yeah. Everybody had Shipley as a fourth, fifth round pick. I thought fourth round was a really good case scenario for him, and that's exactly what happened. And to me, he's a bargain steal for Philadelphia to get in the fourth round. This is a guy, he's going to come in, he's going to learn under Saquon Barkley, two-time Pro Bowler, an established NFL running back, and that's a great guy for somebody like Shipley to come in and cut your teeth under, learn the professional ropes, and grow in the game. So I think the Philadelphia Eagles in the fourth round for Will, also a good landing spot and almost exactly what we expected in terms of where he went in the draft.
Yep, I swear that's exactly where I thought he might go, and Eagles are the perfect spot, to learn under, like you said, Saquon. And he said Saquon called him like the minute he got drafted, like a couple minutes later, and talked to him and told him how glad he was for him to be an Eagle. So I think he's going to do great. I think it's a perfect spot. He's there with Trot, and so just a great pick.
Yeah, and Eagles. Look, again, a Clemson player going to a team that's in win-now mode. Philadelphia, one of the best teams in the NFL. They've got an established quarterback in Jalen Hurts, who also has his umbilical connection to Clemson, if you will, from those battles in the playoffs and the national championships with Alabama. So there's a bit of familiarity there with the two players, their respective programs, and the cultures that they come from. And so for me, for looking at Shipley's situation, not only is it a great pick for the Philadelphia Eagles, but I think that there's going to be somewhat of a seamless transition there. I think he fits in very, very well in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's a great fit.
Well, now, Philadelphia was not done because they come back in the fifth round and take Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Now, for me, and you said the same thing, Cliff, before we begin this episode, it really was probably the feel-good story of the draft. And it all came about really as a surprise to me. This was probably my biggest surprise of the draft. Yeah. I didn't think Trotter was going to be around in the fifth round. As far as I'm concerned, and this may be where my orange and purple glasses get put on just a little bit, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. was hands down the best linebacker in this draft.
Yeah.
To me,
I totally agree with that.
And what he brings, he was the best linebacker. And a friend of mine said, well, what about that guy, whatever his name is, I don't know it, I don't care to learn it, from NC State. Oh, that guy's a dog. That guy's a beast. He deserved it. No.
Yeah.
Just stop while you're ahead. He's not as good as Jeremiah Trotter. There was no linebacker in this draft that brought about the combination of size, speed, power, versatility, ball skills, can play in coverage, can play physical at the line that Jeremiah Trotter does. He literally does it all. And so for the Philadelphia Eagles, you know what? Hats off and congratulations to you. You just picked up probably the biggest steal and pulled off the biggest coup d'etat of the 2024 NFL draft, because there's a lot of teams that passed on Jeremiah Trotter that sometime within the next calendar year are going to damn well wish they didn't.
Yeah, I saw the video that the Eagles put out about, I think it was the owner talking to him on the phone, and he was talking about how he knew him when he was like 3 or 4 years old, and it was so good to have him on the team. And his mom's just the best person ever, and his dad's the same way. I mean, it's just a great story. Like, your dad plays for the Eagles. You're in the facility when you're younger, and then you grow up and you go to Clemson, where his dad went, right? And then you play at Clemson, you do great at Clemson, and then you get drafted to the same NFL team. Like, it's just a great story. And he definitely, in my book, should have gone earlier in the draft, because he's just, like you said, the best linebacker in the draft. But everything happens for a reason, right? And there was a reason he was still there in the fifth round, and the Eagles took him. So I just think it's great feel-good story, and I think he's going to do great. He's an excellent player. He's going to take that axe and throw it down at the Eagles.
Right.
Fly,
So,
Eagles fly, right?
so anybody in Philadelphia watching this, get ready because Jeremiah Trotter is not only a great football player, he'll drop opposing ball carriers and quarterbacks, but he's not afraid to drop the axe on opponents too. And if you don't know what we're talking about, you can hop on YouTube. You can find some of Jeremiah Trotter Jr.'s highlights, and you will understand what we've known for the last 3 years. You're getting a very special player. And Cliff, I agree with you 100%. You know, we can be surprised all we want that he was still around in the 5th round, but it was fate. It was fate.
Yeah.
It was supposed to work out that way, and it did.
Yep.
And you just got to love it. I love what I don't remember if it was the owner or the general manager that talked to him on the phone and said, "You're home, brother.
Yeah.
You're home."
Yep. Yeah, and you could hear him on the other end of the phone. Just, I mean, his voice was cracking. It was just, he was so excited, and his dad's right there beside him, I think. And I mean, it's just a great story, and he's gonna do great. And he's on a great team that's gonna win right now. So,
no, you're absolutely right. Now, 2 more Clemson players were selected late in the draft. And the first of these 2, I'll tell you what, when I think back on this young man, a kid from the state of South Carolina, from Florence, played for Wilson High School, who, by the way, are also the Tigers. just a different color scheme. Wilson's purple and gold, but they are the Tigers. So maybe he was just destined to be a Tiger all along. But Xavier Thomas played at Clemson for 6 years, went through just about everything that a young man could go through, from success to injury to battling what we learned later was issues with depression, and to just persevere, to come out on the other side of it all and have a chance now to live out a dream in the NFL. I'll tell you what, it speaks to the culture and to the character of Clemson University and the program that Dabo Swinney has built, that this young man not only stayed loyal, but he stayed positive enough. He worked hard enough to come back and to do everything he could to make sure he was in the best position possible to succeed at the next level. And now he's gotten his chance. Who couldn't be happy for Xavier Thomas? Hell, if you're a South Carolina Gamecock, I think even if you don't want to admit it, you still got to be a little bit happy for this kid. So
probably glad he's gone. Probably glad he's gone.
They might be.
If nothing
they might
else.
be. That might be what they're happy about.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, man. I was super surprised that he was still around too, because I think he was the best defense. And this might be my orange-colored glasses coming on, but I think he was the best defensive end in the draft. I mean, there was probably a lot of them out there, but this kid is strong. He's talented. He's been through a lot. He's seasoned. Like you said, he was there for 6 years. And I think Clemson is one of the, if not the only, one of the few that keeps players there more than 2 to 3 years. And at the most 5. Like, I mean, now with the transfer portal, kids are leaving every year. But I think Clemson's one of the few where you see kids graduate and you see them move on, and it's their 4th, 5th, maybe 6th year in the program. But I was going to say, I think that XT went way too low. That's just my opinion. I think he was the best D-end in the draft.
Right, and certainly one of the best either way. But again, we talk about these teams getting steals with these Clemson players. The Arizona Cardinals just got a steal, and I would say the same thing to the fans out in Glendale. You're getting a guy that you're going to fall in love with. You're going to learn about him, what we've known about him for the last 6 years. And I really think you give this kid a chance. You're going to love the person that Xavier Thomas is. You're going to love the player that Xavier Thomas is.
Yep, exactly. Like, he's just a great person, great player, dedicated, everything. Everything you need in a player, it's embodied in him, I think.
That's exactly right. Now, the last Clemson player selected in the draft, this to me was maybe not as big of a surprise as Trotter Jr. going as late as he did, but it was certainly up there. Tyler Davis being drafted as late as he was. I heard different things floating around that maybe he was not, teams were not sold on his measurables in terms of his size and speed compared to other defensive tackles. But I'll tell you what, there is no reason, none, zilch, zero, that a player the caliber of Tyler Davis should have still been around as late in the draft as he was. That to me was another big surprise.
Yep, me too. You're getting the same player as XT. Like, he's got the same caliber, attitude. He's super funny, jokester. I mean, his work ethic's second to none. I mean, really, any Clemson player that you're getting, the qualities that we're talking about are all like in all of them. And I mean, he's just a great guy. Super happy for him. Again, I'm with you. I think it sucks that he went so low. I think he should have gone higher. But I'm happy for him. I mean, he's going to LA, going out there, and he's going to do well, I think,
Absolutely. He's going to the Rams. And I'll tell you what, to that end, seems like a good time to tell everybody to go ram your hunger and go visit our friends at Arden's Burger Grill, one of our fine sponsors. They have mouth-watering burgers, sizzling grills, and those double dip wings. They will have you falling in love. So go see our friends at Arden's Burger Grill, 1280 18 Mile Road Central. You can tell them the crew from Around the Paul sent you. And we'll even say that on behalf of Griffin, who's not with us tonight. He's studying hard, and it's finals week at Clemson. Griff will be back next week, but right now he's got to hit the books. We understand that, and we're all wishing him good luck as well. But we also want to tell you about a brand new sponsor we have here at Clemson Sports Media. It is Wanderlust. They are your one-stop shop for health and wellness, and they can have you feeling great. And just go check them out at 2902 Suite C, North Main Street in Anderson, South Carolina. And Wanderlust wants to remind all Clemson fans, boost your wellness game. So go check out our brand new sponsor, Wanderlust, at 2902 Suite C, North Main Street in Anderson. And again, tell them the crew from Around the Paul sent you. You're going to be seeing us promote them on all of our platforms here on Around the Paul, on our X account at CU Sports Media, and on the website, clemsonsportsmedia.com. So Wanderlust, we're glad to have them on board. They're going to be a wonderful sponsor. So go check them out. Let them help you. And the crew from Around the Paul, we roundly welcome Wanderlust to the Clemson Sports Media family.
Yes, we do. It's a great sponsor. They have good people over there. The owners are great, and we're so happy to have them on board.
No doubt about it. Now, 6 Clemson players drafted. There were 10 names in the draft. So there were 4 players who unfortunately did not hear their names called in this year's NFL draft. Those were Sheridan Jones, Jalen Phillips, Will Putnam, and Justin Maskell. Cliff, were you surprised at all that any of those 4 did not get drafted, or was that kind of along the lines of what you were expecting?
I'm not surprised, but I did see on Twitter today that Sheridan Jones got a free agent deal. I'm not sure if you saw that, but he did get a free agent deal. So he did sign. I can't remember exactly who it was with, but I saw it on Twitter today. So good, happy for him. But I don't know if I'm surprised that any of those didn't get their name called during the draft. But I mean, I still think they're good enough to play in the NFL. It's just a matter of if they'll get a free. The rest of those three will get a free agent call.
Yeah, and I certainly hope that they do, and certainly hope that they get a chance to showcase their skills. And certainly, all were great players at Clemson. We're very lucky to have had them wearing the orange and purple and white tiger paw, and they'll be missed. And we'll miss seeing them play on Saturdays, but we wish them all the best as well. Certainly hope that they get a chance. So, all in all, just to wrap things up, talking about the draft, I think it was once again, it was a good showcase of the level of talent that Clemson is able to produce and to feed into the professional ranks. And you see it from a wide variety of positions. You've got Will Shipley, the running back. Um, you've got guys on the defensive side, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. at linebacker, Ruke Orhorhoro and Tyler Davis at defensive tackle, Xavier Thomas at defensive end, Nate Wiggins, the defensive backfield. So everybody knows that Clemson has been elite defensively. 5 of the 6 guys drafted were from that side of the ball, and it just keeps feeding from that great Clemson defense into the NFL where these guys are just going to shine. So I think all in all, it was a good draft for the Clemson Tigers and against another showcase of what Coach Dabo Swinney is able to do with these guys.
Yeah, it just shows how well Clemson produces talent, right? And especially on that defensive end of the defensive side of the ball. I mean, some of those guys go back to I just had a brain fart. What's his name before the defensive coordinator we have now? I mean, a lot of those guys were brought in by him.
Come on, man.
I
know you're getting old, but you're not that old.
Come on now. And seriously, I know. But I mean, it's they're just great. Like we do a great job recruiting great talent and evaluating talent, and it's just great. Like all of those guys came from high school, and none of them came from the transfer portal, and because we don't use the transfer portal around here.
For better or for worse, but we've said our piece on that before, I think.
Yes, we have. And I think it's great that all of these guys got their name called and in some fashion. And it just shows how Clemson produces talent. And I think it's great.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. So happy for these guys too. So that's about all we're going to throw at you from the NFL draft perspective. And as we wrap this episode up just for a couple of minutes, let's talk about what happened and what turned out to be quite an eventful baseball series between Clemson and Louisville over the weekend. We would be remiss and negligent if we didn't drop this in on you. And get ready, because I have a feeling I'm about to get just a little bit edgy here. And, everybody likes clickbait, right? So this is my shameless plug for everybody to watch this show if you like to see an irrational fan.
Yeah.
Cliff, I grew up on a farm. I know bullshit when I smell it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that percolating through the stadium when Clemson played Louisville this weekend.
Yeah.
So let's just take it from the top. Louisville player hits a home run, just decides to stand there and watch it, make no attempt to run, taunting at its finest, and then opens his big mouth and spews nonsense going around the bases at every Clemson infielder that was within earshot. Oh, and by the way, there were 0 consequences for his actions.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. Like when that happened, I was like, what why isn't he running? Like what's he doing? And then you see him just taunting and doing things like this and just running his mouth. And I'm like, dude, just run around the freaking bases. Like be a respectable player and not an idiot. And I mean, he got hit. Karma's a bitch. And he got his. They won that game, but we came back the next day and just beat the living tar out of that team. And he went 0 for 4. So, okay. Enough said.
Yeah, but not only did he go 0 for 4, there were some theatrics and histrionics in that game as well, and no doubt a carryover from the previous day because a player from Louisville decided to open his big damn mouth.
Yeah.
Early in that ball game, we had a little I'm not going to call it beanball because nobody got hit, but
yeah.
It might as well have been an airport because there were a few towers that got buzzed.
Yeah, oh yeah. They threw behind him. And when he came up, he was the second batter in the first inning. And Barlow threw right behind him. And Backich just smiled. They put the camera on him. And he just
knew
smiled.
what they were doing.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, so warnings are issued at that point.
Yep.
Now, once warnings are issued, and I get the rule book says that anything that happens after that, whether or not somebody gets ejected, is umpire discretion. I'm of the opinion that these umpires don't exactly understand the definition of what discretion is, because if they did, then you would have had a Louisville pitcher heading toward the showers a little bit early later in that ball game.
Yeah, because in the 7th inning, after NC State scored a couple of runs to make it 13-6, I think it was. Clemson comes up to bat, gets a couple runs, and then Jimmy Overtop comes up, and their pitcher, who I don't remember his name, threw behind him. Now, whether it was a accident or on purpose, he still threw behind him, and the guy should have got thrown out. But he didn't. And then the next pitch, Jimmy Overtop took 450 feet over center field wall and put a hole in their batter's eye. So,
well, isn't that typically how it works out when a team wants to run their mouth, particularly a bottom feeder like Louisville, who, by the way, is one of the worst teams in the ACC. Clemson's not only one of the best, they're a top 5 team in the country. So first of all, what in the world put the notion in Louisville's mind that they possibly thought they were on any kind of ground to stand up and try to talk smack to us?
I guess they thought.
Because I promise they're not. Because right now, Clemson was Obi-Wan Kenobi and Louisville is Anakin Skywalker. We have the high ground. Yeah. Don't try it.
Yeah, I guess they thought since they won the game before coming back that they could do something this game, but they had no offense hardly, and until the end of the game, and we just shut them down, And we didn't have our best. We weren't pitching our best pitcher, Aiden Connaught. We rested him. We didn't even pitch him.
All I'll say about it. All I'll say is this. Louisville.
Oh, by the way, Jimmy Overtop got thrown out, by the way.
Right. And it was just about to get to that, but Louisville's antics were over the top. The only thing over the top about Jimmy was the ball he hit going over the top of the stadium wall.
Yeah.
So talk about having the last laugh. Now, Overtop, he gets ejected for flipping his bat in the direction of the Louisville dugout. And quite frankly, if I were in his cleats, I would not give two shits about getting ejected. I would have flipped my bat into their dugout, not in the direction of it. And then when the umpire threw me out when I crossed home plate, I would have walked away with a smile on my countenance.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
because I give that little bit of a damn about whose feelings I hurt, and if Louisville's feelings got hurt, well then good. They should have.
Their coach is for some reason. I just after this series, I do not like Louisville's coach. He's a crybaby, and like when we threw behind their pitcher or their guy, like he started crying. He was like, "Why are you giving us a warning?" Well, You guys should have got thrown out the day before, and he didn't. So you just better be glad about that because he would have missed this game. And so, I mean, nobody for their team got thrown out. So just be happy. Don't cry about it because you're getting a warning.
Well, you know what? Misery loves company, right? So maybe he and Dave Doring can go out to dinner sometime and commiserate over how much they hate Clemson because, quite frankly, the feeling is mutual.
Yeah, exactly. We don't like you either, so just stay at your little school, and we'll dominate you forever.
Right. There's no room in our sandbox. Walk away.
Yeah, because the way Eric Bakich is recruiting in the portal and things like that over the past 2 years that he's been here, I don't see us going away for a while. I just don't.
Yeah, Dabo.
It's just I think I really do. I think he's going to be here for as long as Dabo has been here, and because he was at Michigan for 10 years, so what says he's not going to be here for 20? And or as long as Jack Leggett, and Jack Leggett's by his side, and so I don't see us going away anytime soon. We're rolling.
Yeah, no, the only thing going away are baseballs off the bats of Clemson players. That's really the only thing going away right now.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Yep.
Well, I tell you what, everybody, hope you've enjoyed this episode of Around the Paul. Like I said, I had a feeling I was about to get just a little bit edgy. And you know what, Cliff, I'm proud of you because you jumped right in there too. So, hey, good on you, man. Hey, look, people love a good sports rant, and hope everybody enjoyed that one. But look, real talk, we enjoy bringing these shows to you. We love talking Clemson sports. Drop us a comment. If you've got suggestions for us or things you'd like to hear us talk about, hey, drop it in there, man. We always love to hear feedback from our viewers and listeners. And if you do like what you see in here, then give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. Hit that button. Helps us out with the algorithm. Check us out on our website too, ClemsonSportsMedia.com. We have great stories and great coverage of all things Clemson daily. And then you can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at CU Sports Media. So there are a lot of ways you can reach us, a lot of ways you can reach out to us. And I think I speak for Cliff and for Griffin as well in absentia that we just appreciate everybody and all of their support.
Yeah. The articles that I wrote today about baseball, one was Cam Camarella getting Player of the Week last week. He was like 7 for 14 against Louisville. And I mean, it was insane. And then I wrote an article. I just put it out before we went on the show about Clemson's postseason and what that looks like. So yeah, go check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a great cast of talented writers and a lot of magic happening here at Clemson Sports Media. And by the way, if you want to become a sponsor here at Clemson Sports Media, just reach out to us. And Clifton, Anthony Weeks, and all of our staff here, they'll be happy to help you there. We've got some great salesmen who are going around and promoting us, and we're appreciative of them as well. But a lot of good things happening here. So come join the Clemson Sports Media family, and we'll certainly make that happen for you. But again, thank you to our sponsors, Arden's Burger Grill, and our newest sponsor, Wanderlust in Anderson. Great health and wellness shop, and they're going to be a great asset to the Clemson Sports Media family as well. We appreciate those guys. We appreciate all of you listening out there. So until next time, we'll say good luck, Godspeed, God bless, and as always, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.